So today's video is going to be a rather different video than I've done, but I think it's an important video to do because I feel like we all need to learn something. And I hope in this video you guys actually do learn something, and hopefully we change things that are going on. And this video is going to revolve around the whole Charli and Dixie situation. But yeah, we're going to do that today because I think it's important to talk about it. And I hope in turn I educate a lot of you guys with this. So just sit back, relax, and listen to my discussion, and we'll go from there. Alright guys, so I'm on my bed, so that way we can be a little bit more comfortable talking, and so that way it feels more like a mother is giving their child a lesson, or like a TED Talk. So that's why I'm sitting down on my bed. But now, let's get started on the real discussion of this video. So, Dixie and Charli D'Amelio. We all know what has been going on and that whole mishap. Now, I do agree that there are things going out of proportion on both sides. I think people are taking things way too far when it comes to the canceling of them, and I feel like there are people who are influencers and just ordinary people in general, and the D'Amelios themselves, who are not acknowledging the behavior that happened. Let me say this. That behavior, regardless if it was Dixie and just an ordinary person, that behavior is just unacceptable in general. It is so rude and disrespectful to do that, because that behavior is just unacceptable. Regardless of who you are, it doesn't matter if you're an influencer, it doesn't matter if you are a normal, average person, that behavior is just unacceptable. And the reason that being is because that behavior is expected for like a 5-year-old. Because that's how 5-year-olds act sometimes. But yeah, Dixie's not 5 though. Dixie is 19. She's an adult, and at that age, we are expecting her to act like an adult and do adult-like things and have adult-like behavior. So for her to act like that really just isn't good on her part. It really makes her look like she's a child, and that she'd rather be treated like a child and behave like a child and stay being a child rather than growing up and becoming an adult and setting an example. Especially since she's an influencer, she has to set herself more to be a better example to children. And so far from that, she really isn't doing that good job representing that and being a better example. Because she really is influencing kids to think that that type of behavior is okay. And that's also the issue that I'm having with influencers, because there are some influencers who are defending that behavior and saying, that's what she does. It was for entertainment. It was for this. It was for that. You guys need to realize that her audience, and I'm pretty sure some of your guys' audiences, are kids who are 12 and under. So in turn, the way you guys are behaving is how they think it is to behave. Because you are influencers, and that's your job, to influence children. So these 12-year-olds are here thinking that if Dixie can act like that at 19, they can do the same thing. Which is not good, because they shouldn't be behaving like that at 19. They should already be expected to start doing adult-like behavior and doing adult things. Not behaving like a 5-year-old child and thinking that that's okay because Dixie D'Amelio does it. No, you need to set yourselves as a higher example of what you guys want to educate, influence, and inspire kids to be. And if that is what you guys are okay with, letting kids know that they can behave like that, then I'm sorry, you guys are not doing your job as influencers, and you guys really should be ashamed of yourselves for allowing people to say, oh, Dixie's behavior is acceptable, because it's not. Hey guys, so this is Dia doing the final edits on my video, and I just wanted to let you guys in on a little stuff that I forgot to say on my original video. But yeah, let's get this video started, and I'll see you guys whenever I pop up, okay? So let's get started. Before I elaborate on my opinions on what the influencers, excuses are for Dixie's behavior, I actually want to just talk about, Dixie's excuse herself, because she did give an excuse for her behavior. And her excuse was that basically the whole thing was scripted and planned, and that we are taking things out of context. And all I have to say to that is that in the video, we as a viewer, we perceive the video as it is based on how it's presented to us. And from the thumbnail and even the title of the video alone, I could tell that this was not a funny video or a video where it was scripted. I assumed that this was just going to be a video where the D'Amelios were going to sit down, have a nice discussion while eating food, and, you know, just talking with another influencer. There was nothing in my mind that perceived that this was meant to be funny, or that there were going to be pranks, or that it was going to be a skit or acting involved. And even in the video, there is no mention of that at all, whether from the production team or from the D'Amelios themselves, letting us know that this was going to be funny, or there were going to be pranks involved and all that. So I really genuinely feel like Dixie was just saying that to excuse her behavior, because we really don't know the D'Amelios as a whole. Most of us probably know them for a year here, and in a year I think that's not enough to get to know them and who they are. And not only that, I feel like if this was acting, we all know Dixie's acting isn't really good. She's terrible at it, so I really don't think it was acting. And if this was meant to be funny and do pranks, they haven't established themselves as comedians or pranksters. You know, unlike Larray or Liza Koshy, who even from the start of their YouTube channel, they have presented themselves as being funny and over the top, you know, funniness, and doing skits and being, you know, funny and being a comedian. So since we don't know that about the D'Amelios, it's kind of hard for us to think, oh, the pranks and the funniness of this was because they are comedians, when we don't know them or establish them as that. So it's kind of hard for us to believe that this was meant to be funny and that these pranks were just going to be part of the video. Also, not only that, if this was supposed to be like an inside joke kind of thing, that also doesn't help the situation, because we as the viewers, we don't know what the heck is going on. We are perceiving this to be professional, and if they were being funny and having a good time and laughing about this, we as people, we don't know that. So for them, it's an inside joke and they find it funny, whereas us, we don't find it funny. And if anything, while we are watching this, they are having a good time laughing at a joke that they know between themselves, whereas us, we are just lost and we are wondering, what are they finding so funny and what is so funny about this? So we as people who are watching this as a viewer, we don't really know the perspective that we're supposed to be seeing this, other than this is supposed to be a professional setting and they're just supposed to be talking with James Charles and having an open discussion. We don't know that this is meant to be funny, because they don't give us any context into thinking that it's supposed to be funny. So I feel like Dixie's saying that we were taking this out of context and that this was scripted and planned is just her to excuse her behavior. And if that is the case, it's not really a good excuse, nor does it really excuse her behavior to begin with. And if anything, it just makes it seem like she's trying to put all the blame on the way she behaved on the production team, rather than, you know, admit and let us know that she did behave very poorly and that she made a mistake and that she's wrong for doing that and apologize for that. But no, she rather just make an excuse and blame somebody else for her mistakes, rather than own up to the fact that she was being rude and disrespectful. So that is my opinion on her excuse for the situation. Now let's go back to the original video and my opinion on what the influencers thought. So now I'm going to talk about the influencers who are defending that behavior. So I already discussed how obviously they are, you know, allowing Dixie to act like a 5-year-old and thinking that that behavior is okay when it's not. But it seems like influencers are not getting some of the situation, because some of them are saying, oh, this was for entertainment value, this was for views and all that. But here's the thing. This is not a movie, okay? Dixie acting like that for a movie, it would be understandable because it's a characterization, it's a fictional character, it's a fictional story with a fictional storyline, and that's why it would not, nobody would make a big deal about it, because it's a movie, and we all know it would be fictional, so, you know, we know that behavior wouldn't be acceptable. But unfortunately, this is reality. This is not a movie, this is reality TV, and in this case, Dixie's behavior really shows people, if Dixie, who is, you know, a big influencer and is, you know, 19, can behave like that, then I can behave like that, because what's the difference between me and her? Or, you know? So her doing that really is encouraging people to do something that is not good behavior, and it's just not good in general. So for influencers to defend that, it really just shows that they obviously don't seem to understand the difference of reality entertainment versus movie. But not only that, it seems like they don't understand reality entertainment at all. There are some influencers who are also saying, it was a joke, it was for entertainment, it was for views. Yeah, have you ever noticed how in reality TV, whenever people make up storylines or the production team does something for entertainment value or for higher ratings, they do make up a storyline or something like that? But have you ever noticed how most of the time it's on shows like, let's say, RuPaul's Drag Race, The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, heck, even maybe America's Next Top Model? And have you noticed why that is? Those are not reality TV shows that show off life. Those are competitions. So it makes sense to have the production team do something that creates controversy, that allows them to get higher ratings and views, because they know people are going to talk about it and people are going to say something because it makes sense to talk about it. Like when in RuPaul's Drag Race, Jan was robbed of her win from the Madonna challenge. It made sense why they needed to do that, because they figured, if Jan doesn't win that challenge, people are going to talk about it, people are going to say stuff, and it's going to get us higher ratings, it's going to make people want to watch the show even more, or just in general talk about the show. So it makes sense why the production team would willingly do something to mess up the storyline or to create a storyline to get people to talk about it. But, where in the Demile's YouTube channel was that episode even a competition? No, it was just a normal discussion at a table with another influencer. Why do you need to do something to get entertaining value or have higher ratings or have more views? I'm pretty sure since you guys had James Charles on that YouTube video, you guys were going to get a lot of views. You guys just in alone for that. You didn't need to have Dixie do that whole thing for entertainment value and to get higher ratings, especially if all it was going to do was make her look bad and make you guys look bad. And it's not worth the risk doing that, because it's not a competition where it would make sense to do that, because people are going to talk about it and in turn it creates more ratings and more views. No, this is reality TV as in a lifestyle, and that is completely different than from competition reality TV. And there's a difference between reality TV competition wise versus lifestyle wise. And the reason that is because in lifestyle you're dealing with real people who are talking between one another. So if you make up a storyline, let's say Keeping Up with the Kardashians, imagine if they actually told Tristan Thompson to cheat on Khloe Kardashian, and in the end Khloe finds out, they would have been fired, because Khloe would have been like, wow, the production team told Tristan to cheat on me, and as a result, when I found out he cheated on me, I was yelling and screaming and doing all this and that, and I made myself look dumb. When in reality, he didn't cheat on me because he wanted to cheat on me. He cheated on me because the production team told him. So as a result, the production team made me look dumb. So when it comes to when it comes to lifestyle videos, it makes sense as to why the production team should not risk creating entertainment or creating a storyline for drama, because there is the risk that they could end up being caught making up the storyline, and as a result, the person who they, did the storyline on, if the person gets like threats or gets hate online. So for people who are saying, oh, it's for views, it's for entertainment, it's not good that the production team had Dixie do that, because if they knew it was going to end bad, or heck, even if Dixie knew it was going to end bad, or even me, someone who knew that it was going to end badly and not be taken good, why did you risk making up the storyline to begin with? You know it wasn't going to help. And instead, what you guys did was have Dixie and Charli be canceled to the extent where they're not just receiving hate, they're actually receiving death threats. Was that really good enough and worth the risk for doing? Trust me, I know damn well it wasn't worth the risk just to get higher views and ratings. Because it's not right to make up that kind of a storyline where Dixie has to eat a snail and over dramatically make a big deal about it and get a huge reaction just for more views. When in the end, all it's going to do is just give her hate that she does not deserve. But no, she gets it. And whose fault is it? It's the production team's fault. But at the same time, also Dixie is also just 100% not also in the right. Because Dixie, the way she took the situation, she could have done it better. She's 19, you know, she has a voice, she has a right to do things that she doesn't want to do. So she could have handled the situation a lot more. The protection team was telling her, you need to eat this now. We want a joke. We want entertainment. But you're 19, and Dixie can plainly say, no, I don't want to. And she can do that because she's 19. She can do whatever the hell she wants. And if, let's say, the production team ended up forcing her to do that, you know, so she could say that she doesn't want to do that because she's 19. She's an adult. She can make her own decisions. So she could have done her part and set an example showing that, oh, I'm not going to do this because I don't care if it's for a joke. I don't care if it's for entertainment. I don't want to eat the snail because I don't want to eat the snail. But she knew they were going to give her snails, and she knew that the production team wanted to get a reaction out of her, and so she did it. And as a result, it's like, don't make up excuses. You knew if you were going to react that way, you were going to behave that way. Why did you do it? You should have said no. And you can say no because you're an adult. You can make your own decisions. And if the production team kept on trying to get you to do it, people would feel sorry for you. And instead the video would get a lot of views too. But people would be siding with you saying, how dare these people try to make Dixie do something that she doesn't want to do? Why would they do that to her? Or like, that is so messed up. But no, instead you actually caved in and you actually did it, giving them what they wanted. And as a result, you made yourself look bad. And in the end, you can't fully blame the production team for that. You have to blame yourself for not letting you and your voice be heard. So yeah, so for the influencers who are saying it's for reality TV, guess what? It's not for reality TV when it comes to entertainment of lifestyle. Lifestyle, reality TV is way more different than competition reality TV. Where in reality TV competition, it makes sense to make up a storyline because it goes with it and it helps. Whereas with lifestyle, it's not good to do that because in the end, you can make people look dumb. And as a result, it makes them feel like that is ruining my reputation. That's defamation of character. So in the end, the production team gets in trouble and it's like, oh, great. What happens after that? Maybe they'll end up quitting. And so in the end, it's like, well, if let's say that person was someone that a lot of people liked it and was good entertainment, how are they going to make up for the ratings now and for the views now? Because they're losing someone who gave them the ratings in the first place. Okay, so it makes sense why you shouldn't risk doing entertainment or storylines for reality entertainment lifestyle, because you are doing a risk of losing ratings and entertainment based on who you do it for, versus reality competition. You have nothing to lose because it's a competition. You know people are going to get eliminated. But even if people get upset with the person who's eliminated, they know it's going to create controversy and have people talking. Because they're going to be like, well, it's not fair. Or, well, this person got eliminated, so maybe this other person who we also like, let's hope they don't get eliminated. And then if they eliminate that person, people get upset. And then it makes people go like, oh, I don't want to see the show anymore. But then when they come out with a new season, people want to see it because they're like, oh my god, wait, maybe hopefully this person that we all like will actually win. So it makes sense why in reality TV competition, it's good to come up with a storyline from the projection team because it gives value. Whereas in lifestyle, it doesn't. You actually risk losing that versus actually gaining. Now, there are some influencers who are also defending the situation by saying, it was a joke. Let me tell you this. Even if it was a joke, it wasn't even a good joke to begin with. Especially right now during the time that we are. We are in the middle of a global pandemic where some people are deciding whether to pay for rent or pay for food. So what in your right mind would think that that joke would have been funny to do or would have been good to laugh at? I don't know about you, but a joke, I feel like if you're doing a joke, it has to be a joke that you know is going to be funny. Not a joke that you definitely know it's not going to be funny, especially considering the time that it is. And when it comes to food. I never get the joke as to why people should over exaggerate or never eat something or vomit in a way where they are behaving very rude. It doesn't seem funny. It seems funny in a skit, but then of course it's a skit. It's acting. It just isn't good. It's not good entertainment, and it just isn't funny at all whatsoever. So in the end, even if it was a joke, it wasn't a good joke to begin with, and you could tell it wasn't going to be a good joke regardless of the situation, because her doing that over food, it's like, that's behavior of a 5-year-old. It's not funny in a joking manner as an adult, because it's reality. It's reality. It's not a skit, it's not acting, so it's not funny. It wasn't going to do any good. It was just going to make everything look bad. It was going to make her look bad, so why risk it? Why do it? Just because you want ratings? Just because you want more views? Just because you want entertainment? Yeah, no. I'm not doing that. And neither should have Dixie. But she did it, and so she looked bad. And for her to say it was a joke, it was entertainment, it was this and that, it wasn't good to begin with, and I think you knew it wasn't good to begin with, but you still did it. So as a result, you received backlash. But of course, now, the way she responded to the situation is also what is not helping her case as well. As for the way Dixie handled the situation, she really didn't handle the situation really good. She was making excuses, and she was talking about how, oh, I know the chef, we know the production team, we do this and that. At the same time, you can't solely blame them, because you still did what you wanted them, not you wanted them, but you still did what they were telling you to do. And you are 19. Like I say, you have a right to do whatever you want. If you don't feel comfortable doing things, if you don't feel comfortable eating things, because you're a picky eater, just don't eat it. There's nothing disrespectful with you rejecting food. There really isn't. It's not like the chef is going to be disrespectful. It's obviously going to be like, oh, you tried the food, you didn't like it, so you're like, oh, I don't like this, sorry. Or the chef is not going to find that disrespectful. He's just going to think, okay, so the person didn't like it. It's not, maybe it's just not their taste. Maybe they just have a different palate than other people. Because I know picky eaters, I know people who have food problems. Heck, even I have food problems. I can only eat like one big meal and a couple of snacks the whole day because my stomach is so sensitive. So if I eat too much, I get sick, or I, don't feel well. So I get it, but at the same time, you don't see me over dramatizing and complaining and going like that's and that, because I know that that's not right. It's not good. It's disrespectful, and it's just overall just unnecessary behavior, unnecessary drama, attention that is not needed. You can just politely handle the situation and be polite and be respectful, which you did not do neither of, Dixie. You didn't spit in the napkin, put it down, reject the food. Dude, you literally were like, you look like you were having a seizure, and like, oh my god, you were so going crazy with it, and then you didn't even think to run to the restroom or the bathroom to throw up. You literally just ran out the door and just vomited on the floor and allowed people to catch that. So in the end, it just made you look bad, because it looked like you don't have tableside manners, you don't have respect, you don't know how to be polite. You just basically looked at it like you were just being rude and being disrespectful and just over dramatically behaving even crazy and unnecessarily just way over the top. So in your part, you obviously need to realize that yes, you could have controlled and handled the situation better. So you should not just be blaming it on the production team because you knew they wanted a reaction from you. You can't do that. You still did it, and you behaved the way you behaved it. And as a result, you need to let people know, hey, I behaved it like that, and it was so wrong of me to do that. So I hope those of you who are watching me, I hope you don't behave like that, because that is just not the way I want you guys to see me, and that's not the way I want you guys to behave, because it's just wrong. It's just not good behavior. It's not respectable behavior. It's not appropriate behavior. So don't be like me, because what I did was way over the top, unnecessary, and just wrong. So I hope you guys see that and you guys do better. But no, you didn't. You gave excuses and you gave reasons as to why you did what you did and why you behaved the way you behaved, which is not okay. Yeah, Dixie's behavior just wasn't good, and it just wasn't as an appropriate behavior. Because I know damn well if that was me and I behaved it like that, my mom would have slapped the crap out of me. I know damn well she would have done that. And if she was my daughter, I would have done something similar. I wouldn't have slapped her, but I would have grounded her for a week, taken her phone away for a week so she wouldn't make TikToks, and I would tell her to cook food for herself. And let's say if her boyfriend, like Noah Beck, came over, I would be having my eyes on him too. I'd be like, don't be trying to help her make food, don't be assisting her, don't do nothing. She needs to cook it on her own. And if you want some food, guess what? She's gonna cook it for you. And let's see how she likes it if you say it's garbage and it's disgusting. And let's see how she likes it when all the hard work and time that she has put to make that food for you goes for nothing because you are disrespecting her and saying the food is gross. I'm pretty sure she'll feel heartbroken, and then in the end she'll end up realizing what it means to be disrespectful. Because she'll get the hard slap of reality of like, hey, guess what? Guess what? Now you know how the chef feels, because that's what you did. And if you don't like it, trust me, I guess the chef didn't like it. But that also comes to my other point of how people are saying, oh, the chef has no problem with it. Of course the chef has no problem with it. Like Dixie said, oh, we're trying to help promote his content. So of course the chef is not going to say anything bad or negative. He wants to make sure he still has content. He wants to get paid. He wants money. So of course he's going to say positive things, and of course he's going to say, oh, it wasn't a big deal, because he's going to save face. He's going to try and make sure that he doesn't ruin his opportunities. Comes to my other point of how people are saying, oh, the chef has no problem with it. Of course the chef has no problem with it. Like Dixie said, oh, we're trying to help promote his content. So of course the chef is not going to say anything bad or negative. He wants to make sure he still has content. He wants to get paid. He wants money. So of course he's going to say positive things, and of course he's going to say, oh, it wasn't a big deal, because he's going to save face. He's going to try and make sure that he doesn't ruin his opportunities. I wanted to elaborate on what I was talking about with the chef and the production team. So yeah, the chef and the no, not the Hollywood fix guy, but the chef and the production team manager who, was responsible for the video. Well, they call him, and they obviously are talking to him, and they are giving this excuse that, oh, it was planned, and they are all right with the way that Dixie behaved it. Like the chef himself said he had no problem. And for me, I feel like that just doesn't help Dixie in her case, because to me, it makes me feel like they're just trying to put all the blame on themselves, rather than, let Dixie also take the blame and make it seem like, oh, she did nothing wrong, so that way they save face and make themselves and make herself look good and stay on her good side, so that way they have opportunities and can create content and, make money. So I really don't think them calling him helped the situation, since a lot of us think the Hollywood fix guy is just fake and all that. Oh yeah, that's my opinion on that. And it's the same thing with these influencers. I don't know if some of these influencers are defending Charli's behavior because they want to save face, or they don't want to get on her bad side, or they don't want her fans to come and attack them. But be honest. As influencers, there's nothing wrong with admitting that Charli did something wrong. Now finally I want to talk about another subject that I didn't talk about. So James obviously did tweet, how it's not right that Dixie and Charli are getting death threats for this. And as much as I agree on that part with James and many other influencers, even though I don't like to agree with James, but I do agree with that it's not right that they're receiving death threats and so much hate that is unnecessary for all of this. But at the same time, what I don't own, and what really just irritates me a little bit, is that these influencers also are just genuinely supporting their behavior. at least Dixie's behavior. I do think that, yes, they don't deserve all this hate, but at the same time, you guys also need to acknowledge, regardless if that they're your friends, and that Dixie's behavior still was not right. It was not appropriate. It was not good, and it just overall wasn't a very, you know, it was just behavior that is unacceptable, especially for someone her age. And for people who are supporting them and the influencers who are just, not elaborating on that, it makes me feel like you guys are just letting people know also that, yeah, they don't deserve death threats, but that they shouldn't own up to their mistakes. And instead, you guys are focusing more on the death threats and making them feel victimized. And that's not right, because at the same time, I get it, people shouldn't be getting death threats. It's like that. But at the same time, for you guys to just genuinely, jump over the whole behavior stuff makes me like, well, why aren't you guys also encouraging fans to realize that that behavior is unacceptable? For you guys to defend Dixie's behavior and not elaborate on that behavior and letting people know that that behavior was wrong and that, yeah, Dixie should apologize for that, but that in the end, when Dixie does apologize for that, you guys should be respectful and accept her apology and move forward, because she'll move forward and she'll learn from that experience and from, that from her behavior that was wrong, and that she'll get better with it. And these influencers are not doing that. And for people who are just defending her and excusing her behavior, or are saying this and that and making excuses, I don't know if you guys are just doing that to save face. But if you guys are doing that to save face or to stay on her good side, it's not good, because you are allowing people to think it's okay to behave like that. And I get why Dixie did what she did, and I understand her being upset that people are sending her hate, but at the same time, the behavior that you did is unacceptable. So just apologize for it, and everyone will get over it super fast. But you making excuses makes people feel like you feel entitled. And so as a result, these influencers who are doing the same thing, excusing your behavior, to me, it makes me feel like they're showing their entitlement, or they're just favoring you because of who you are, and that's not right. We are influencers, and we need to set an example. And so far, the influencers who are supporting you are not really setting the best example by supporting your behavior. And in this case, this is something that you can simply own up to and just admit that it was wrong, and then everyone will forgive you easy. But you making up excuses makes people feel like you're entitled, and makes it seem like you think you're better than other people, so you don't need an excuse for your behavior at all, which is not right. And it's not good things to influence on children. So, yeah. Dixie's behavior was just not appropriate. Definitely behavior that all she needed to do was just apologize real quickly, accept that her behavior was unacceptable, and that she's gonna do better, and that she hopes that the people who are watching her don't repeat that type of behavior, because it's inappropriate and should not be accepted and nor replicated, because it's just overall disrespectful. Like, seriously, that's all she needed to do, and everyone would have forgiven her so easily. But her making excuses really makes people feel like, oh, so she thinks she's entitled. Oh, she thinks she's that kind of, person that she don't need to apologize for bad tableside manners that we all know are unacceptable at her age. Now, as for Charli's situation, I don't really understand why people are getting upset with what Charli said. And maybe her wording wasn't the best, but still, it's something that she doesn't need to get canceled for nor receive death threats for. Maybe the mistake was after she said, but I like even numbers, and yeah, I can see why people could have taken that as like offensive rather than as funny. And I feel like maybe James failed to, play off on that by going like, oh, well, Dixie, if you hit it on Friday, good job, and if you don't, well, you shouldn't make a big deal about it, because, you're still going to hit 100 million anyways, and I'm pretty sure you're going to be grateful no matter what. So, maybe just don't focus on that and instead reach higher goals. you know, maybe that would have helped the situation a little bit more, and it would have helped her wording, and it would have helped her, you know, the way she was acting, and make it seem like people are going like, oh, look at, you know, James looking out for Dixie, letting her know that just because she's gonna go to 100 million, she shouldn't care if she hits it on Friday, because ultimately she's gonna hit it eventually, and in the end, she just should be grateful for the fact that she's gonna hit 100 million, you know? Oh, but I do feel like people canceling her and giving her death threats, that is just, like, what? I mean, I get it. She has a goal. Like, what's wrong with her having a goal? So, yeah, I can definitely see why some people would feel like, oh, Dixie is focusing more on a number because she wants to hit it on the specific day. And it's like, what? Do you not care about us, really? Because you rather care about you hitting 100K on that special day of yours rather than, you know, appreciate the fact that you have already so much and you've done so much in a year. I can understand why people are getting upset, but at the same time, I don't understand why it was such a big deal and why it was worthy getting canceled over. I just don't get that at all. And so, yeah, that's just my take on all of this. So, we're going to end this video because I'm done talking about this situation, but we're going to just give a review on all this and finally just give like a final statement on the situation. Alright? So yeah, that's my take on the situation. For Charli, I really don't understand, and I think people who are canceling her and hating her, I think they are in the wrong for doing that, because that is not right, especially for what she did. I don't understand why she would be canceled for what she did and what she said. That is just definitely not right, and I feel so bad for Charli because she doesn't deserve that. Whereas for Dixie, I understand why people would be upset and why people are, quite frankly, trying to educate her, especially those who are like me, because I'm not one to want to spread hate. I just want to educate people on their mistakes. You know, I want people to know that they need to take ownership of their mistakes, because that just makes you a better person, and it also just helps improve yourself as a person. You know, because it makes you understand that, you know, you're going to make mistakes, but as long as you improve from those mistakes, people are going to forgive you, and people are going to see that you're someone who listens and cares about, you know, other people's opinions, and, you know, just, quite frankly, even taking advice from someone. It makes them feel like they're being appreciated. So I feel like on Dixie's point, I get why people are upset. For the people who are sending her unnecessary hate, I don't agree with, but for those of you who are just educating her, good job. You're letting her know that you just want her to do better, and that you guys are just letting her know that she needs to take responsibility, because that's just the right thing to do. As for Dixie, I really do think if you just apologize, everyone's going to forgive you very easily, because they're going to see that you're taking responsibility as an adult, because you are an adult, rather than stay naive and think that nothing is your fault, you know, and that it's just better to blame someone else for your mistakes, when that's not right. Like, you need to take ownership for what you did, and if you do that, people will greatly, you know, accept your apology and move forward and move on, because they'll see that you have improved as a person, and that the next time when you do something that has to do with food, they're going to be like, oh, look at her, see, now she's being respectful, she's not being over dramatic, and she's letting the chef know that she didn't like the food, so she's not going to eat it, or she in general is not listening to the production team who is telling her to do something for entertainment value, and she's like, nope, standing her ground, letting them know, I'm not going to do something that I don't want to do because I'm not comfortable with it, so I'm not going to do it. But, so I feel like Dixie just needs to apologize, you know, and then it'll be over and done with. And for people who are educating her, I think they're going to be so happy that she's listening to their advice, because they're just looking out for her. That's all they're doing. I know for me, when I did my video on Dixie, I'm just letting her know, I'm looking out for you, girl, and I just want you to know that what you did was just wrong, and that you just need to own up to it. And then people are going to forgive you and move on, rather than just make excuses, because all that does is makes you seem like you're entitled and that you don't need to work on your mistakes, which is not right, because you're an influencer and your job is to influence people, and the more you accept responsibilities for your mistakes, the more people, you know, accept you and appreciate you, because they make it feel like you are listening to them and you are appreciating them, helping you out. So that's my take on the situation. So yeah, Dixie, just apologize. People who are educating her, know that you are doing a good job by letting her know that you're just looking out for her. and people who are sending hate, I really do hope that you guys notice the difference and realize that what you're doing is not helping the situation. You're just making it worse, and you're not doing a very good job. So that's my take on the situation. And I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and I hope you guys learned something, because it's important to know that it doesn't matter if you're an influencer or if you're just a random average Joe. You need to take responsibility for your actions, because it helps you as a person, and it helps improve you as a person, and it helps represent you even better as a person, and it helps people feel like you are appreciated of them, and that you are acknowledging them, and that you are just, letting them know that you appreciate them looking out for you, and that you're going to do the same thing when it comes to them. So I forgot to do an ending, so this is going to be my ending because I think it's an important ending. And before people come for me for my video or even on TikTok, I just want you guys to know that I'm not doing this for clout, because there are some influencers and people who are saying, oh, people who are talking about this subject are, looking for clout. And I am not someone who's looking for clout. I know there are definitely some people who are looking for clout, like Perez Hilton and Trisha Paytas. I definitely think those are people who are definitely doing this for clout because they just want to derive the attention away from them and their scandals and their, problematic and their problematic problems and all that. But I feel like in the end, this is important to talk about, because cancel culture really is just not doing its job. I feel like cancel culture fails to cancel people who deserve to be canceled, and it ends up canceling people who really don't deserve to be canceled, especially for Dixie and Charli's situation, which is like, it's a minor incident, so I don't get why we should be canceling them so badly. But in the end, that's what's going on, and I feel like I wanted to do this video because I just see so much cancel culture, and it's just makes me so mad when I see people canceling people over a little thing that I get you're upset about, but it's an easy situation to fix. So in the end, and I get it, but at the same time, I also want to let influencers know that you also have to be accountable for your actions. No matter how small or big the situation is, you have to hold yourself accountable for the mistakes that you make. Because if you don't, you end up becoming problematic. I mean, look at Trisha Paytas and Jeffree Star, Nikita Dragon, heck, even James Charles, even though he's trying his best to always stay out of getting into a scandal, but he sometimes still gets himself into a scandal. And you can see how in the end, those things, they keep doing problematic things, and in the end they do that to stay relevant, and it just isn't a good look. So I feel like people who are just talking about this, sometimes I feel some of them are like me, who are just trying to look out for these influencers who have millions and millions of followers, and are just letting them know, hey, you need to apologize for what you did, regardless of how big or small the situation is. This is just a simple behavior issue, and you just need to apologize for it. But in the end, I feel like these people are just genuinely making a big deal about it because of Dixie, because it's like, you have millions and millions of followers, so you need to make yourself a better example since you have that many followers. And if you're not going to apologize over this little situation, they are probably thinking, what happens if she does something that is even worse than this? It's going to make people feel like, oh wow, now she's going to start being problematic, and she's going to, not ever apologize for whenever she makes a mistake, and she's going to just continue to do problematic stuff and get into problematic situations, and she's not going to own up to it, and in turn it's just going to, make her fall down a rabbit hole that I think a lot of people don't want her to go down, since she has done stuff that has been problematic, but since there's no evidence or proof to show that it's problematic, a lot of people don't believe it. But since we have evidence and proof that kind of shows that she did something problematic, it makes people worried about what happens the next time. So I really hope, you know, people realize that I'm not doing this for clout, and I'm just trying to educate people on that cancel culture is not a good thing, and we need to instead educate rather than cancel people. But then at the same time, people who are influencers need to realize they need to own up to their mistakes, no matter how big or small the situation is. Because if you don't, you end up making excuses for your behavior, and as a result, you could end up continually making mistakes upon mistakes upon mistakes, and in turn, it makes people feel like you're just being problematic rather than, actually caring and being a genuine influencer. So that is all I have to say. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys learned something. So I'll see you guys the next time. Bye.